I wonder if we could go right back, Sir Alec, to your childhood. Your parents weren't actors. What did your father do?
Well, my father, I never knew. I mean, he was out of my life when I was, a baby. But he was a bank manager. No connection with the theatre at all. And I've really sort of lived on my own since I was about 14 or something like that, on and off.
So at what point did you realise that, you had to be an actor?
I don't know. I mean, hindsight and is very clever. I consciously knew I wanted to be an actor by the time I was 16, that's for sure. If I look back now, I think I always was an actor from, the age of 5 or 6 or something. I was always, in dormitories at school, telling stories. They'd all fallen fast asleep, but I went on telling, nighttime stories and acting them out madly in my bed in the dark.
And you've no idea why?
I suppose. I think it's a great mistake to... I mean, I would never go to a psychoanalyst to sort this out for me. I don't want to know why. I guess kind of lonelinesses and insecurity of personality and character, and therefore latching on to make-believe and pretending. I mean, for me, acting is just, let's pretend. Still is. You have to apply it, or you learn certain skills, and then they become too much, and you have to try and abandon them. But it is, let's pretend, and I think anything that goes much beyond that becomes pretentious.
Yes, I don't want to delve into pop psychology, but are you, as a generality, happier when you're acting than doing anything else?
I'm happier when I'm rehearsing, because then all antennae are out, particularly in the theatre, because the rehearsal period then lasts a month, roughly. Film rehearsals, of course, are inclined to be very, off the cuff and swift, but even then, it seems to me I'm at my most alive, both in trying to find a character, in the general situation, what the whole thing's about, and an alertness as to where one is and what one's doing. Once the acting job is started, it's, I suppose, in a way like an office job.
There was one of the periods in your life when I imagine you didn't feel particularly alive, was when you left school and went into an advertising agency.
Oh, yes.
You were a copywriter, weren't you?
I was a copywriter, and then they took me off that very kindly and made me a layout man. I was disastrous with that, and they put me back to copywriting.
What did you have to write?
I wrote boring little ads for Rose's lime juice one time. I was virtually Wilkinson's razor blades, Philips lamps, Mallard radio, everything about which I knew nothing.
Did you come up with any original slogans?
Oh, me? No, for heaven's sake. No. I was in offices when original slogans came up. I have made very good friends. They were sweet to me there, but I earned £1 a week, 30 bob a week by the time I left.
Were you worth it?
No. I cost them a lot of money. The Daily Mail appeared one morning with a vast empty space, which is where my ad should have been.
What happened then? You decided advertising?
Well, I was always wanting to be an actor. It was a question of how to... I didn't know any actors. I didn't know how one started. And while I was at the advertising agency, I got onto Martita Hunt, who became a very great friend of mine, as I thought I would try and get into the Royal Academy. And I had no money, and so this meant trying to get a scholarship. And so I went to her for, hour lessons on my voice and this, that, and the other. I don't think she taught me a thing about anything to do there, but she taught me a lot about life. I mean, she formed my taste in many ways, which was far more valuable. And when I arrived at the appointed time at the Royal Academy, I was met by a lady who said, "What a good thing you haven't come down from Scotland. We're not giving any more scholarships this year." So I was left with egg on my face, to a degree, and near tears. And I ran into a girl whom I used to know as a child, but within minutes, and wept on her shoulder. And she said, "Well, you better run down Baker Street to the Faye Compton studio, where they are holding auditions this minute." And I dash there, and I was just in time, and I got the scholarship.
Marvellous.
And I ended up at the Faye Compton, but I didn't stay there long. I was meant to stay 2 years, but I couldn't afford it living. I mean, I had to earn my living, so I was only there about 6-7 months, I think.
But how did you live during those 6 or 7 months?
I was kept by, largely, I had a little, I think I had about 26 shillings a week or something, which I could afford. That's what I lived on. And my fellow students, many of them used to provide me with jam sandwiches and apples, and were wonderful to me. I used to carry them in the summer weather mostly. I only had one pair of shoes. I used to carry those to save the leather, so I would walk barefoot when it was dry. Because I enjoyed it.
This is all before the war, of course.
Oh, this is all 1933, 34, yes.
You eventually joined John Gielgud's company, and then you joined the Old Vic in 1936. But your film career really started in 1946 with Great Expectations, didn't it?
That's right, yes. It was the first film I've done, apart from appearing for one day when I was a student as a walking on, an extra in Evensong. And I swore I would never, ever do that again, the way they were treated.
What do you mean, the extras?
Yes. I thought, that's not for me.